Welcome to the section on story points. In this segment, we'll explore what story points are, why we use them, and how to estimate them effectively. Story points are a relative scale used to estimate the effort needed to complete a user story. Instead of predicting hours or days, teams assign a numeric value based on three factors: complexity, the amount of work involved, and the uncertainty. So, why do agile teams prefer story points? They foster collaboration by encouraging discussions during estimation. They also help teams account for complexities and uncertainties that aren't always visible up front. By moving away from time-based estimates, story points keep the focus on value and adaptability. Now let's discuss how to estimate user stories using story points. First, we use the Fibonacci sequence, a series of numbers where each value is the sum of the previous two, such as 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and so on. The increasing gaps in the sequence reflect the growing uncertainty and complexity as story sizes get larger. For example, estimating a story as 8 points implies it's significantly more complex than a 3-point story. Story points are a relative measure. This means instead of focusing on absolute effort in hours or days, we compare stories to one another. For instance, a 2-point story typically requires about twice the effort of a 1-point story. Estimation is done as a team. A popular method is planning poker. Each team member selects a card representing their estimate for a story. If estimates differ significantly, it sparks a discussion to align everyone's understanding. For example, if someone picks 3 and another chooses 8, they explain their reasoning until the team agrees on a final estimate. To ensure consistency, teams anchor their estimates by comparing with baseline stories. For example, if a login page is consistently estimated at 3 points, other stories can be measured against that as a reference. Let's wrap up our discussion on story points with some key takeaways to ensure we've captured the most important concepts. Key takeaway: 1. Focus on relative effort. Story points focus on estimating the relative effort required for a user story, rather than assigning specific time frames. This approach allows teams to account for complexity, uncertainty, and the amount of work involved. Fibonacci sequence. We use the Fibonacci sequence because its increasing gaps reflect the growing uncertainty and complexity of larger stories. This helps teams maintain realistic expectations when estimating larger tasks. Collaborative estimation. Estimation is a collaborative effort. Tools like planning poker help teams align on estimates by encouraging discussions and building a shared understanding of each story. Anchoring with reference stories. Anchoring with reference stories ensures consistency in estimates. By identifying a baseline story, teams can compare all other stories relative to that example, reducing ambiguity and improving accuracy. Benefits of story points. Finally, story points are a critical tool for agile planning. They enable teams to plan sprints effectively, track their velocity over time, and deliver value incrementally. By using story points thoughtfully, agile teams can improve their estimation accuracy, foster collaboration, and focus on delivering the highest value to their customers.